Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Karishma Connect. Here I am speaking to Ananda Shakespeare, who's the founder of Shakespeare Communication, a journalist turned PR professional who now owns a boutique agency. Speaks to me about the wonderful world of PR, the perils, the benefits, everything that's in it to look out for, and how the industry continues to change with a whole lot more to look forward to. So go check out the episode, and hopefully, I should be back soon with yet another one. This time around, Karishma Connect is rolling things out a little differently. We are taking a pause, thinking how we could do better. So, you might see that one episode drop in once in a while when there's a true, meaningful story to look out for. Until then, stay tuned. Do look out for the previous episodes. I'll be back soon. Tata.
Thank you so much, Ananda, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. This one's long coming. I am super happy to have you here. Thank you again, and really looking forward to knowing more about you. I've known you a little bit personally, I would say. I'm looking forward to getting to knowing you a lot more.
Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast today, Karishma.
Most welcome. The first question I ask Ananda on this show is that tell me about that journey so far. I know it's a long one. I know there's so much to say, but you would say it best, I believe. So please go ahead and share your journey so far with me.
Oh gosh, where do you want me to start? I'm quite old, so it's a long journey.
I can imagine, but you're not old. You look very, very young.
Well, I studied in the UK and I did a very unusual course called it was a BA in independent study. And I wrote my own degree syllabus in writing, which was fed by my love of the environment. So that's where I started. And I was lucky enough to spend a year living in the Arctic in Finnish Lapland, going to the University of Lapland in Finland, where I studied more about the environment and quite a lot about how it was impacting the Arctic. And unfortunately, 30 years later, we see some of the geopolitics play out in the region. At the moment, Russia and China are talking about opening up a sea route for trade through the delicate Arctic environment. And to me, that's very worrying. But after university, I moved to London. I worked with the BBC at Radio 4 for IPC, the country's biggest magazine publisher. I was working for a magazine called Ideal Home, which sold 250,000 magazines a month. And then I moved to Dubai to work for Time Out Dubai as a journalist for 4 years, got 3 promotions, 2 pay rises, which is not easy to do. So did very well there. Went on to open a magazine for the Alpha Tame Group for Festival Centre. And launched a retail fashion magazine, lifestyle magazine in English and Arabic. And worked on that for a year before being headhunted by Middle East Economic Digest, which is EMAP, the biggest sort of business publisher in the UK. And Mead has been in the region since 1957. And after that, I set up a company called Shakespeare Communications, a PR company, and that's what I'm presently doing.
How did you make that shift? What made you decide to start your own?
You know what? I've always wanted my own business. I even remember when I moved to Dubai in 2005, I love variety and I love doing lots of different things. I love having juggling, a dozen clients. And it was just a matter of what would that business be? And the route from journalism to PR is very well trodden. So it was a very easy transition.
But at the time, it wasn't a very likely. Like today, I've seen so many people move from journalism to PR and then start their own. There are a dime a dozen businesses that have been set up in the PR business. You have smaller agencies that are thriving. You know it. But you started at a time, I believe, when this was still coming around, if I put it the right way. There weren't as many people who were starting their own PR agency, or you started. This is what I think, and you would be the best person to comment on that. How was the scenario back then?
So I left a role as a head of content for IT and telecoms firm in July 2019, and I already had a couple of clients. So I was already slightly established,
Mm.
um, and I guess it was easier to make that. 2019 was booming. The economy was great. So I was
Mm.
traveling around the world. I was representing sovereign wealth funds. I was working on really exciting PR projects. But of course, the world changed in 2020. And that's really when a lot of people took the leap, was 2020, because
Yeah.
people had to. A lot of people lost their jobs, so they had to pivot to going freelance or setting up their own business. A lot of people perhaps didn't even want to do that. Some people, I guess, it was a silver lining. It was what they wanted to do anyway, and it gave them the push to do it. But with others, even speaking to peers today, they haven't. They would rather be working for someone else. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur or CEO.
Mm.
So it's not for everyone, but you're quite right. There's definitely more competition in the market over the last 5 years. So I
Yeah.
perhaps, in terms of starting out mid 2019, I guess that was to my advantage because I
Mm.
started a little earlier than others. But yeah, come 2020, there was a lot of competition, and there still is now because the working culture has changed in the world, and there's all the quiet resignations, people um, wanting to work from home now, and wanting more freedom. So yeah, and that's fine. Competition's a good thing in every industry.
Do you have a way of dealing with it?
Well, you've got to find your niche, haven't you, and be yourself. I'm not weary of competition. I'm doing my own thing and I have a thriving business.
Yeah.
So um, competition's not really an element, you know.
Mm.
So you just do your own thing and, have faith that the work's going to keep coming. But really, you reap what you sow. And as you say, I'm a networker. So, I know a lot of people. So I have a lot of business leads coming from all directions, from other journalists, from other PRs, from industry associations, from friends. Your network is everybody. Work
Mm.
can come from anywhere.
Networking itself. Why is it so important? And what can one do to get better at it?
Well, I think with networking, it's important to be authentic. So I'm not
Mm.
a card pusher. If somebody wants a business card or they offer you theirs to you, you could perhaps reciprocate. But I'm not a card pusher. You've got to get to know people on a personal level. And that's how we know each other. We've sat and we've had coffee. So I'm quite traditional. I really believe in face-to-face meetings and having coffee and having lunch and getting to know people, you know, and just being authentic. And I think also professionalism is a bit overrated.
Yeah,
People like people. We need to share something about ourselves to get to know each other.
very true.
So be authentic, make an effort. A lot of people don't want to go out and do a networking event for breakfast at 8 a.m. or after work. They're tired or they want to go to the gym or they want to be with their family or husband or partner or whatever. But you've got to make that effort to network. And those that do are the ones that, they don't have to go looking for work. It comes to them. For many years, I got headhunted for many jobs.
Mm.
I wasn't applying or looking for them. I was headhunted for them. So I was known and recommended. So be authentic, make an effort with your network and to network because that's where prosperity comes from too. And also follow up. So I did a great course many years ago about referrals. And one thing you can do if you get lots of business cards is you could write on it when you got home, where did you meet that person, the date, or things like that, and email them. If you've bothered to take their business card, follow up an email. Now, the sooner you do it, the better. But don't be too hard on yourself. I've got a stack of cards on my desk now from a conference I went to in the UK over a month ago, and I haven't followed up with everybody yet. So you know, life's busy, but do your best to follow up and make an effort and be authentic.
Tell me, how has the business of PR changed since then?
Well, PR, well, journalism and PR is certainly changing, just like everything. Industry changes through tech. I mean, in journalism offices, they're beginning to use AI now, especially in things like sports reporting, where perhaps you don't need, if it is just a generic piece about results from a game the night before, you don't necessarily need a human writing it. Um, but and the same for PR. I mean, personally, our agency is quite traditional PR company, so we're not really using AI. The only time we use AI is to transcribe perhaps voice notes from clients when we're doing Q&As for them and things like that. Perhaps they don't have time to type, so we might transcribe their words for them to help them. But I mean, it depends about where you're talking about. I mean, PR is slightly different in different parts of the world. I mean, things like artificial intelligence, which I talked about, is beginning to be used in PR. AR as well
Yeah.
for some things, for events and for promotion and for stunts, and also data. You know,
Mm.
everything's data led. So if you have data and you can use that and incorporate that into your PR strategy, that's fantastic. But a lot of these things cost money. So I mean, AI and apps not necessarily, but buying data. If you're not the data owner, then that can be quite expensive. But sometimes your clients can give you the data, so they've paid for it, and then
Yeah.
you can use it as the PR company. So those are a couple of ways that PR is changing.
And what would you say? Let me put it this way in response to that question. What would you say is the best part about doing PR in the UAE?
Oh, um, the UAE has a vibrant economy. So, there's opportunity for everyone. So it's an exciting place to work, and it's a good place to build a business. So as an agency owner, um, I'd encourage people to go out there and start a business in Dubai or the UAE or this region, because we're part of the Middle East and North Africa. MENA is a growing region. It's one of the most exciting regions in the world. So do your research, ask around, don't be shy to ask, contact people on LinkedIn or email, or have conversations at networking events. People are normally quite open when you approach them.
What is the favorite part about what you do, and what do you dislike about it?
Oh, well, I love getting results for our clients. So every time I get a new piece of coverage, an article for my
Tell
clients,
me
I
about
feel
it.
like jumping for joy. I'm truly happy for
Yeah.
them, and I'm so excited, And then I share that coverage with my clients, and so I share the excitement that they have for their businesses. But I would say, as I said before, the world has changed a lot since 2020. And one of those things is the media landscape. So the types of, the amount of, for example, coverage I could get for clients before the pandemic was a lot more than it is now, because the media landscape shrunk. So what I mean by that is many weekly magazines might have gone monthly, and many
Mm.
monthly might have gone digital only. Um, and yeah, and there's less journalists even in corporations. There's less advertising. Social media. A lot of people are putting their marketing budget into the Silicon Valley social media companies. So that means if the money's not in print advertising, then how are those media outlets going to make their money? Those local media outlets. So I think getting results is my favorite thing, but sometimes people have unrealistic expectations of the results that you can get them, and actually the results that you can get them in a short amount of time. So just like most marketing, it's not necessarily instant gratification. You need to be pushing away for at least 6 months to start making an impact. If clients want brand awareness, it takes time. So it's not about overnight success stories normally.
What are the three main ingredients that you think make for a good pitch?
Oh, that's a good question. I would have to think about that. Um, I tend to use case studies. So I tend to work with industries I've already worked in before. So we normally have case studies. So that really helps when pitching. When you've got previous case studies, you can show you've already got similar results for another client before. Also, I tend to go along with actual printouts of reports. So every month we have press clipping reports that we share with our clients like this. But we do it. Yes, we do it via email. But for pitches, we print these reports out where we can show coverage we've got for our clients.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's quite powerful, when people can actually see the physical print clippings.
Yes.
That would be 2 tips. Take along, put case studies in your proposal, and maybe take some tangible results, some case studies to the meeting. But also remember to listen first to the client to see what they want and elicit the information you need from them. Sometimes clients need a lot of guidance. They need to know what they need to be asked. And you need to set yourself apart, because if you're going up again on a pitch against other companies, then you need to communicate what makes your company unique.
Is there a moment in your journey, as throughout your career, is there a specific moment that you can share where you felt, which is kind of one of your most memorable moments from the journey so far?
Community and charity is a big part of my life. In the UK, I was an environmental activist, and I set up 2 environmental charities. So I really care about the planet and the environment. And as you've heard, I care about the Arctic. I think helping a restaurant chain in a restaurant brand in the UAE with a pandemic of kindness. I conceived a campaign called Pandemic of Kindness, and because people were so terrified in 2020 when COVID-19 hit, to encourage people to be kind to each other, and we gave away a free tea to help the immune system. That was probably one of my favorite moments. And also during the pandemic, I reached out to a eco and spiritual retreat in Sri Lanka called Plantation Villa. So I helped them on a pro bono basis. I tend to have one pro bono client on at a time. We're a boutique agency, so we can't do lots of pro bono. But it's nice to give back. And this is a retreat that helps villagers, gives work to villagers in Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, it was closed for a year to tourism. So anything that you can do to help, sometimes it's nice to help businesses when they need it.
It takes about 3 to 4 years when you start a business to kind of get into that space of solidifying your position in the market. Do you agree, or do you have a different perspective on it?
I think it takes 2 to 3 years to know whether, is there going to be perhaps any longevity to your business. As a boutique PR firm, we've been really lucky. We've been making a profit since day one. You need to be persistent. You need to be consistent. You need to work long hours at the beginning of any business. So you really have to have grit, resilience, hard work. You have to be very resourceful. So if you're not those things, then you're either going to have to learn them or perhaps reconsider having your own business or having someone else run it for you, perhaps.
My last question to you is, what do you think the industry, what's that one thing that you're grateful for that has changed in the industry? And what is the one thing you think needs to change?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot with all these questions today. PR is fantastic because it's about awareness and creating awareness. And as I said earlier, that can be for, very good causes. Our company likes to work with clients who have sustainability at the core of their businesses, ethics. So we're known for these things. We're known for ethics and to be working with clients that care about what they're doing, and they care about the planet, and they care about their people. So when we're promoting a company, you can be sure that the company we're representing has those values too. So I think PR is really important from a perspective that it can do so much good.
Where do you think the industry is headed? What do you look forward to in the industry?
Well, some people say PR's dead or PR's dying, and mainstream media's dead and mainstream media is dying. But PR's never going to die. That's like saying human nature will die. There's always going to be promotion. You can use different techniques, and there's going to be new social media channels in the future. But you just have to shift with those tech changes. But PR is never going to be dead. There's always going to be a need for a PR industry. I think what's exciting is that we can see the industry developing in a good way. I think the future is bright and exciting, and it's exciting now.
Yes, absolutely. On that note, thank you so much, Ananda, for joining me once again. Thank you for making time.
Knock, knock. Are you still here? Well, I'm super happy that you are. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Please do like, share, and subscribe to Karishma Connect across platforms. And I look forward to bringing you many more such amazing stories from around the world. If you've got one, please do get in touch. Lots of love.